Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me. It's Steve. It is the OG Stevie Stroh, and we're back for another chapter, another video, another episode in Programming in Basic with the color computer. This episode will cover Chapter 9, which is called Writing, and Chapter 9 is all about how to edit a program, or how to edit a line in your program. We gave you a sneak peek of this in a video I recorded yesterday. Yesterday we recorded a video where I updated the Russian roulette game we did a little while ago, and in the process of doing that I started to edit the lines to make changes in the middle instead of having to retype the whole thing. So that was jumping ahead just a little bit, but I knew it was in this chapter, so now we're going to officially talk about it. So here is what we're going to do now in Chapter 9. I'm going to read what it says on the page, Chapter 9, page 53. It says, up to now, you've probably been changing programs the long and boring way by retyping them. If so, you'll be glad you've arrived at this chapter. You'll learn a new, easy way to change programs by editing them. Don't throw away that line, edit it. And we're going to be introduced to the edit command. Just a little interesting piece of trivia here for you. Right here is a sidebar note that's referring to the deluxe color computer. Why is this interesting? Because the deluxe color computer was never manufactured. It was designed, there were some prototypes, they were going to roll this thing out as the next color computer, but they didn't. Instead, they released a color computer too. The deluxe color computer would have had more features, but would have cost more to manufacture. They would have had to raise the price. And Tandy was more interested in actually lowering the manufacturer cost and selling a less expensive version. So the color computer 2 was the successor to the original Battleship Gray Cocoa. However, since so much work had been done, including references to the manual. This is like the third or fourth time they've mentioned the deluxe color computer in this manual, saying that on that deluxe color computer you're not going to type in edit, you're going to press the Alt key, which that key never showed up until the color computer 3. But just a little interesting side note, this particular PDF document you were using for this book has got these hidden gems that are referring to a computer that was never made. So we're going to use the edit command. What does the edit command do for us? Well, it allows us to change a line in progress. So here it's asking us to type in something incorrectly. It says type in this line here. Type in DABA, D-A-B-A, space E-F-F-F, 3 F's, U-S-I-V-E, comma, gimpy, space, mushy. That's the line it asked us to type in. DABA, effusive with 3 F's, gimpy, comma, mushy. So it's asking us to intentionally type in a line that's got some improper verbiage, some improper spelling. So it says you can change this line the hard way by retyping it, or the easy way by editing it. To get to line 50's edit mode, type in edit space 50. What you should see is the line listed above you and then a cursor right beneath it and showing you that you're in edit mode. Now that you're in edit mode, while in this mode you can use any of the special edit keys to display or change line 50. They're all listed later in this chapter on table 9.1. Start by pressing L, the edit key for list. When you press this, it lists the entire line again and then puts you right back at the start. It says now move on down the line with cursor movement. Press the space bar a few times to move forward. And then it says to move backwards, press the left arrow. Now because we're using virtual color computer, the left arrow is not backspace. We're actually going to press backspace on our keyboard to back up. But as you can see here, space bar will move us forward and backspace will move us back. So we can kind of tiptoe through all the text that are in this line. And so that is what that is showing us there, right? So L will list the line, spacebar will move us forward, backspace will back us up. So now it says move to the start of line 50, which you would if you were, oh crud, what did I just do? I just went too far away. I was pressing spacebar on the wrong thing. Okay, this is where we need to be here. So let me click over here. It says move to the start of line 50. So let's just say that you were in the middle of line 50. How do you get back to the start of line 50? You just hit backspace. That takes you back. So now it says move to the start of line 50 and then press 5, the number 5 on your keyboard, and spacebar. What did that do? That moved us 5 spaces forward. If you were to count this out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how the cursor is under the E in effusive? If you press 5 space, that automatically moves you over 5 spaces. This moves you 5 spaces forward all at once. Do the same thing with the backspace. Press a number such as 3 and then press back. That backed me up 3 spaces right away. And move that many spaces backwards. Move to the start of line 50. I'm backing up and it says press S for search and then E for E. And then type in the letter E. E for E. Yeah, so it says S for search and then type in the letter E. The character for which you want to search. This moves you to the first E. So when I press S for search, I'm going to show you this again. I'm at the beginning of the line. I press S for search. I press E for E. I am now underneath the first E in my line, which is the E in effusive. So that's where it put me. Now it says move back. I will move back to the line. And now it's saying press E, move your character. This moves you to the first E. Move back to the start and press 2, the number 2, the letter S, and the letter E. This moves you to the second E. So I'm pressing 2. I'm pressing S for search. I'm pressing E for E. I am now underneath the second E. This is the first E. This is the second E. So it was the number 2. It's the letter S for search. And then I press the letter E, indicating what character I want to search for. So that 2S means search for the second occurrence or the second instance of, and then E was what it was looking for. So that is what it did. Let me just go ahead and back up to the beginning here. Now it says, make your first change in line 50. Change deba to data. It says move underneath the wrong character. So right now I'm under the B, and that should be a letter T for data. So press C for change and press T for that. If I press L, I've now listed it back out again, right? So I moved the character underneath the letter B. I pressed C for change, and then I typed in the new letter. Once I did that, I pressed L. It listed out the entire line. You can see that line 50 now has corrected the spelling of data to D-A-T-A. So now we've done that. It says now make the next change. Change gimpy to gushy. This time you'll need to change 3 characters at a time. It says move to your first wrong letter. So I'm going to space over here. So my first wrong letter here right now is G-I-M-P-Y. We need to change it to G-U-S-H-Y. So we have to change 3 characters. How do we do that? We press the number 3, saying we're going to change 3 things. We press C to change. Then we type in U-S-H. And then once I've done that, I should now have changed that to, say, gushy. If I hit L to list it out, now line 50 says data effusive with 3 F's, gushy, mushy, however you want to say that. It says if this were all we needed to do to line 50, you could press enter and get out of the edit mode. As you can see, though, we have much more work to do. You're out. Deleted. You need to delete a character. One of the F's in effusive. Move to the offensive character, the 3rd F in effusive, and then press D for delete. So that's the first F, that's the second F, that's the 3rd F. I need to get right underneath it, I guess. Press D to delete, L to list. Now effusive has 2 F's rather than 3. So the D will delete the character that's in the position where your cursor is. So we have done that. What next do you have for us to do, oh wise book? It says when you're done, press L to list again. Your program should say 50 data effusive with 2 F's, gushy and mushy. That's what we see here. It says when we say characters, we also mean spaces. A character is how many characters or spaces are crossed on the screen. You can delete more than 1 character at a time. For example, if you press 4D, you will delete 4 characters at a time. So number 4 and delete would delete 4 characters. Now it says squeeze it all in with the insert key. And it says here that we are now going to insert, we're going to insert some characters. It says gushy should be demonstrative or gushy. So I need to go over here. I need to space over to where the word gushy is. And right after the word effusive, I'm going to go back here. So now, okay, effusive, comma. Now I'm going to hit I for insert mode. Now I'm going to type in demonstrative space or. And now here's the kicker. Shift up arrow should get me out of insert mode. Okay, so now I can hit shift up arrow to get out of insert mode. So what did insert mode do? I press Y to insert. I started typing in new text. When I was done with the new text, you hold down shift, you press the up arrow. That takes you out of insert mode. Now you can spacebar your way back through the text. Yep. So what I've just done here is I've now typed in demonstrative. Or at this point, you're still in insert mode. So you need to press spacebar. You'll insert a space. If you press L, you'll insert an L. So press shift up arrow to get out of insert mode. Hit L to list the line. You should now see line 50 should say data space effusive, comma, demonstrative or gushy, mushy. That's what it should say. Now it says hack a more or hack a less using the hack command. With hack, you can alter or halter a line by hacking the end of it and inserting new characters. Try hacking line 50. Move to the first character you want to hack, being the M in mushy. So if I back up, and I'm on the M now, press H for hack. Okay, I just pressed H. This hacks off the rest of the line and puts you in insert mode. Type your insert, in this case, type in crusty. And now I have to press shift up arrow to get out of insert mode. And now if I press L to list, I should see data effusive, demonstrative, or gushy, crusty. I've just changed that. So now my line 50 matches the line 50 on page 55. So we're going over the edit command. And now it says the kill the mistake. We're going to use the kill command. So kill command is almost the opposite of hack. It kills everything up to the nth occurrence of a character. Suppose that, just for kicks, you want to kill the first half of line 50. Everything up to the comma. Move to the start of line 50 and press these keys. So here's, I'm on line 50 right now. Right, so if I press L, that takes me to the end. Now I'm at the beginning again. So I'm at the beginning of line 50. So it says move. Okay, where are we? Kill almost the whole thing. You want to kill the first half. Okay, so everything up to the comma. Move to the start of line 50 and press these keys. Press K and comma. It's going to delete everything up to the comma. So line 50 should now see this. If I press L for list, I've gotten rid of everything up to the comma. So I got rid of the word data. I got rid of the word effusive. So K killed everything up to the comma. That can be dangerous. Yep. So now that's what it looks like now. So now it says perhaps you want to extend line 50. Press X for extend. It moves the cursor to the end and you enter into insert mode. So type your insert and mushy. So if I press X to extend, I'm at the end here, so now it's demonstrative or gushy, crusty, and then it says type and mushy. To get out of insert mode, press shift up arrow and get out of insert mode. Now if I press L to list, it should look like this. It should say comma, demonstrative or gushy, crusty, and mushy. Well, actually I have to fix that. I have to go to the end. How do I get to the end?
Actually, if you want to cheat, just hit X for extend again and just backspace. You can also delete characters after.
Okay, mushy. Okay, got to fix that. Now if I hit L for end, there, mushy. Got to spell mushy right. Boom. Okay, so I did that. So now it looks like this. So here's a list of your edit keys. And the number, if you omit N in BASIC, uses 1. So if you press L, it will list the entire line. If you press a number, right now it shows the letter N. N means number. If you press a number and C, it will change that many characters. If you just press C, it's going to automatically only change one character. If you press 2C, it'll press 2 characters. 3C will change 3 characters, and so on. I put you in insert mode where you can start free typing in new text anywhere in the middle of your line. To get out of insert mode, it's shift and up arrow. Then a number plus the letter D will delete that many characters. So if I press 1D, I'll delete 1 character. 5D will delete 5 characters. H puts you in hack mode, where wherever you are, the minute you hit H, it is hacked off the rest of the line, and you're automatically in insert mode. You're inserting new text. You have to do shift up arrow to get out of insert mode if you want to relist the line and go back and edit some more. X lets you extend the line, which means it takes you to the end of the line.
Yep. And then puts you in insert mode immediately.
You're in insert mode again.
At the end.
So it takes you to the end and lets you continue to insert stuff at the end. If I want to search for a character, search is for the nth occurrence. So in this case here, I have demonstrative or mushy or gushy. So if I just count this off here to illustrate this concept, I've got 1 S here in demonstrative, 2 S in gushy, 3 S in crusty, 4 S in mushy. So if I said 4 S S, that said search for the 4th instance of the letter S. So the number 4 says how many times, S means search, and then S says search for the letter S. So by me typing 4S, that means search for the 4th instance. Whatever letter I type in next, it'll find it if it exists. That's an odd feature, but I guess it's useful.
It's quite handy. I'll give you one example. If you're doing data statements like you were doing earlier, if you have like 8 data pieces, like data blah, 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 comma, blah, 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 comma, you can say, I want to change the 4th data statement. I want to leave the rest of them alone. 4S, comma. You're right there.
So search for the 4th comma. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. K kills the rest of the line from wherever you are. And then NK character kills, deletes up to the summoned occurrence of that character. So I'm trying to think of an example of that. If I say 3KW, it's going to kill the 3rd occurrence of the letter W?
Up to that 3rd occurrence of the letter W. Everything in the line up to that point. Once again, data statement's a good example. If I want to delete the first 2 pieces of data out of 8 I have in the line, 2K, comma, there's your first 2 gone.
Okay, so if I knew in here, like where it says demonstrative, if I hit L to list to get to the end. Okay, so in demonstrative OR. So if I say 1KR and I hit L for list, demonstrate of, it killed everything up to the first letter R. Okay, so if I had done 2KR, it would have done it up to that 2nd one, right?
Yep.
So because there are 3 Y's, I see gushy, crusty, and mushy. If I say 3KY and hit L for list, I've deleted everything up to the 3rd Y, which is the rest of the line of the program right now.
Yep.
So I see how that works. Okay. K
Once you get used to these, they're very handy, and in some ways they're actually faster than the screen editor in certain cases. I mean, screen editor is easier to see and work with, obviously, like modern languages use. But once you got used to this was pretty slick.
Okay.
And, I mean, Microsoft themselves used a similar version of this with Edlin and stuff on DOS back in the day.
Right. Okay, so if you press a number in a spacebar, if I press 3 in spacebar, it moves 3 spaces forward. If I press 3 in backspace, it moves 3 spaces back.
One quick tip, if you're editing a really long line that's taking multiple lines on your screen, if you want to just jump like 1 line down exactly, you just hit 32 space, and that takes you exactly 1 line down. 32 backspace takes you 1 line up.
Because it's a 32 column screen.
Yeah, and you change that. Like if you're in a Cocoa 3 and you're running 40 column, you use 40 space. And if you're on an 80 column, you use 80 space. But if you know that, I got to go down a line and over 10 characters further to the right, I would just hit 42, and it would jump down 1 line and 10 characters. So it's kind of handy for jumping to places in the code.
Right. Well, I've kind of screwed up line 50 at this point because it's only got 1 letter in here right now, just Y. But let me hit enter and get out of it. Okay, so now if I just hit list, I've got line 50 with just 1 letter Y because I've hacked and deleted and just sliced and diced that thing. So now the next thing we're going to talk about is how to delete and how to do a mass delete. So the first thing is if I just wanted to delete line 50, and I think we did this in our game yesterday, if I just type in 50 and hit enter, boom, that line is gone. If I type in list, my program is gone. All right, So this works fine for 1 or 2 lines. But what if you want to delete line 50 or what if you want to delete 50 or 60 lines? In Extended Color Basic comes to the rescue. The easiest thing to do is type in the del command. So if I typed in del space 30-50, that says delete lines 30 through 50. Okay, I'm having some keyboard issues here now because of my emulator. My minus key is not showing up as on mine.
I'm not sure what it is on the PC version, but I
okay,
think
it's equals. Okay, so in this case here, it's the equals key right next to backspace. So if I type in 30-50, that would delete lines 30, 31, 32, all the way up to line 50, which they don't exist right now. So that's how you can delete a block.
And you did demonstrate this on the Russian roulette game. Remember we deleted that one chunk of code?
Yes.
So if you need to review that, just go back to the previous video.
Okay. So now we're going to learn how to renumber lines of code. This will come in handy as you start writing your program and you find you want to change the sequence of sections of your program and renumber things. Like I ended up putting in a line 165 between 160 and 170. If I wanted to be completely OCD, I could have renumbered everything by 10 again and had all my line numbers end in 0. But I wasn't that crazy. So here's how we do this. It says basically 10. Print quote, this is, and my quote's not working now. Print quote, this is the first line, all right? 20, print quote, this is the second line, right? I'm just following what it says in the book. And 30 says, print quote, this is another line. And then 40 says, go to 10. So when I run this, it's printing this crap forever. All right, how do we break? Okay, the end key is break. Home is clear, end is break. Okay. Now, here's my program. It's 10, 20, 30, 40. So it says, if you want to renumber it, type in renum 100. Okay, that's renumbered the entire program starting on line 100, and I believe the default increment is by 10.
10, yeah.
So now if I type in list, now I've got 110. I got 100, 110, 120, 130. Okay. So
and it also changes your go-tos and stuff like that for you?
Changes your go-tos. It dynamically changes everything. That's pretty clever. Notice even the go-to line has been renumbered. Now, rename the program again with a new line of 200. Type in renum 200, 120. Here's the new line 200, but the numbering starts with line 120. So if I type this in here, so line 100 and line 110 haven't changed, but starting on line 20. On line 120, it has changed, and it's changed to 200 and 210. So that says renumber, starting with this number 200, but don't start doing it until you get to line number 120.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So just different ways to mess with stuff. And then we get to this part here where we can renumber the program one more time, giving it an increment of 50 between each line. So now the command it says to run is to type in renum space 300, 50. I'm going to do that. I'm going to type in list. And so now I have my first line is 300, my second line is 350, my fourth line is 400, my third line is 400, my fourth line is 450. So it's 3. So we're incrementing by 50. So here's the new line 300. Since you omitted the start line, basic renumbers the entire program. Increments between the line is 50. So it should look like that. It does. Here's how the syntax works. Let me zoom in on this and make this a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to lose your camera now, Curtis, for just a second. Sorry about that. So here's how the syntax works. Renum, new line, start line, increment. Renum renumbers a program. New line is the first line to be renumbered. If you omit the new line, basic uses 10. So new line is the first line. Start line is where the renumbering starts. If you omit start line, basic renumbers the entire program. Increment is the increment between each numbered line. If you omit, basic uses 10. Renum does not rearrange the order. It only changes the number of them. So try some variations. So what's the syntax again? So it is new line, which is the new line number. Start line is where you want to start, and the increment is by what number do you want to change. I think I follow all of that. So let's go back. to the program. Let's look at the full book. So it says type in renum, comma, 20. So if I type in renum, comma, 20, and I hit OK, and I list it, what the heck just happened? What happened to my 20?
No, it did exactly what you told it to. You did the comma, so it's saying that the new line starts at the default, which is 10, because you didn't specify a specific number.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the entire program, because the middle one between the two commas, you didn't put anything, so it says renumber the entire program, and then renumber them by 20s. So it's going 10, 30, 50,
so
70.
the first one's 10, the next one is 30, next one is... Okay, I see it. Yeah. It's confused me, because the numbers didn't... All right, so we did that. Now, it says renum 40, 30, and you don't specify... So 40 is the new line, 30 is the starting line. And so starting on line 30, it's going to renumber it to 40, and because I haven't specified an increment, it should increment by 10.
Yeah.
So when I list that, now I have 40, 50, 60. Right?
Yeah, and it left 10 alone because you told it to start.
If I just type in renum, I should go back to my 10, 20, 30, 40.
Yep.
Yeah, I got all that. So it says now type in renum 5, 40. It should get a function call error. This is because the result would move line 40 ahead of line 10, and that is not good. So very cool. I could renum new line 1, start line 1, increment of 1. If I said 1, 1, my line number should be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. And so I believe I overheard somebody saying that if you renumbered your line number starting with single digits, you also save memory that way by having shorter line numbers.
Yes, and the program will run slightly faster too.
Okay.
So basically, I'll give you two big tips on renum. The first one is, and you don't do this until your program's basically done, but you renum everything starting at line 0 and by ones, and that'll actually maximize the speed and also save you the most memory that BASIC can.
Okay.
If you number by hundreds, it actually takes more minutes if it's slow. If you look up tables, etc.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing is that when you're first designing a program, you're just trying to figure out what you're doing. You usually use at least 10s because you want some space. And I forgot to add some code here, and then you leave yourself some room to put line numbers between if you've got to add some more code.
Right.
And then if you find out I have to add 15 lines in between these two lines, well, there's only 10 numbers. Then you have to do a renumber to make them actually larger to give you enough room to put that stuff in. And then you can renumber them back afterwards.
Right. But then you start to have to kind of keep a mental note of where your program is. And you got to kind of wrap your brain around the changes. Because if you have always said, well, my first 100 lines is this part of the program, and you try to do some logical groupings where, 1 through 100 is the main core, 200 through this is a different routine, 300 through that, and you have all this partitions in your brain, and now you've renumbered the whole program where all those partitions are gone. So then you actually
That's why they give you the option of choosing start. I got to redo my 400 partition of code. I'm just going to start renumbering at 400.
And one of the things that Lee Patterson was talking about was trying to renumber something in the middle of the code, and you can't renumber something in the middle if it's going to bleed into numbers that are already in use. So the proper way to do that would be to start at the end and work your way backwards. So take the last 100 lines and renumber them down further, and then backpedal that way and kind of backpedal your way through the renumbering to spread things out that way.
Or renumber with a larger increment between the lines, like 50 or something to give yourself a lot of room.
Gotcha. All right, okay. So
I think his main concern was he wanted to be able to move a chunk elsewhere in the code, which you can't do with renum.
Yeah, okay. So this has been a pretty cool chapter. So the edit command is pretty cool. I want to pull back to that page and just refresh what those edit keys are, because it's a little bit to wrap your brain around. So the edit keys are as follows, and so actually what we can do here is we can list all this stuff out here too again. So, right, so let's just type in a normal renum, and now I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, right? So if I wanted to edit line 10, and I hit L, that just relists the entire line. In this case here, there's 3 S's. So if I wanted to change the next character, so if I wanted to change the word this to that, so I would hit 2C and type in AT. So number 2, and then the letter C says change 2 characters, and I just changed this to that, and I hit L, it lists the whole thing over again. If I want to insert something in the middle, I'm going to hit I for insert and type in almost, space, hit shift up arrow, To get out of insert mode, hit L to list the whole thing out now. I just hit I to insert the word almost between this is the first line. Now it says this is almost the first line, so I just inserted a word. Now, if I want to delete N characters, if I want to delete the word almost, how many letters are in almost? A-L-M-O-S-T. Had to count on my fingers, so that's 6.
Yep. You probably want to do 7 to get rid of the second space, too. Otherwise
so if I hit 7D and hit L, I got rid of the word almost. 6 characters for almost, 7 characters, the extra space. So now I inserted a word, I deleted 7 characters, I deleted a word by typing 7D. Very cool stuff. If I want to hack something, and I can say this is H, now I've hacked off the rest of the line. If I hit L for list, oh, I'm in insert mode, so hit Shift up arrow to get out of insert mode. If I hit L for list, now line 10 just says this is. Hit X to extend, that takes me to the end. I'm back in insert mode. This is the first line. I'm back to right where I was. Very cool stuff. So X extends. N searches for the certain occurrence of a character. K kills the rest of the line. A number plus K will kill up to a certain occurrence of a character. If I edit 10 again, and I want to move 5 spaces forward, I type the number 5, I hit spacebar, I move 5 spaces forward. Yep. If I want to move 5 spaces back, I type 5, I press backspace, I move 5 spaces back. If I want to move 10, can I type in 10?
Yep.
Or 10 spacebar, I just move 10, because you said you could go 32 characters, right? So
yep.
if I type in 30,
up to 240.
So if I type in 32 forward, that takes me to the end of the line because there we go. Boom.
Might have 32 characters, yeah.
So cool stuff. So the edit command is very cool. So L lists, C changes, I inserts, D deletes, H will hack everything, X will extend your line. It'll take you to the end and let you keep adding on. K will kill the rest of the line. You can kill a certain number of characters. You can skip forward spaces, and you can backspace spaces. So very cool stuff with the edit command. Renumbering is a way to manage your code when your line numbers start to get out of whack and you need to make more space or separate things or whatever. And so it's a cool thing to do. The only thing that you have to keep mental notes on and things you have to keep your brains wrapped around is the minute you start changing your line numbers, well, what part of my program started at what number and where did it end? And the only way that I was able to remember doing that in the old days was just to do the old list and do a shift add and pause it as it went flying by the screen and things like that. So it can become chaos if you don't manage it somehow. So, but renumbering is a useful tool. So we also learned that. We also learned how to do the bulk delete, right? So if you just type in a single line number, and let's illustrate that. Gosh darn it, I hate it when I'm not on the right thing and I click on stuff and it doesn't do what I want it to do. Okay, so if I want to delete one line number, if I just type in 10, I've deleted 10. When I type in list, it's gone. If I wanted to delete line 20, line 30, line 40, I could type in del space 20-40. Now, the dash key on your PC keyboard doesn't work, so I actually have to hit the equals key for this to work. But once I do that, and I type in list, well, those suckers are gone. I just deleted everything. At that point, I could have just typed in new. But in this case here, I deleted a chunk of lines. So the del command will let you bulk delete line numbers out of your program. It's also immediately frees up memory. So very cool commands that we've learned in this chapter. 3 powerful and useful commands.
I need to add a couple things. Or actually, one thing for now. There are some hidden commands in edit that they're not mentioning that can prove to be quite useful.
Okay.
So I'll give you one example, the A abort key.
A abort key.
Yeah, if you're editing a line, let's say you start and like take a line, just type in some simple text line like you did before.
Okay.
It's just one line, that's all we need. Okay. Edit that line.
And I want to make
go somewhere in the middle, hit insert, just type in a bunch of gobbledygook. And then you go, oh, crap, I really want to go back to the original line. I really don't want to do that here. Mm-hmm. So now you'd hit shift up arrow to get out of your insert mode.
Yeah, yeah.
Then hit the abort key. Hey. You're right back to where you started.
Wow. Abort. That is cool.
That's come in handy because every once in a while you're editing a line and you go, oh, wait, that wasn't the line I wanted to edit.
All right, okay, so I'm going to do insert here. This is a Curtis Boyle shift up arrow test. This is a Curtis Boyle test. Not good grammar. Well, I screwed that up, so I hit A for abort. Now it's back to this as a test.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, I like that.
So why they didn't mention that in the manual, I have no idea.
Bonus command there for you, boys and girls. So, cool. Thanks, Curtis. All right, well, I'm glad I finished this chapter. It's only taken me 18 hours and 16
you were hitting
attempts.
abort a lot.
So, you have just witnessed Chapter 9. Second half of this chapter was co-hosted by the man himself, Curtis Boyle, over there. Thank you, Curtis.
With a bonus segment.
Thank you to any crazy person who's watching this. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time. Keep on gaming, keep on coding, and long live the Copo. Copo? Long live the Coco. Abort. I got to hit the abort key. Yes, long live the Coco. Bye-bye now.